Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 0 of the series on how on making a uh, simple console game in C. And in this episode 0, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I decided uh, to make this and maybe talk a little bit about myself as well and yeah, give you a little bit of an idea. So when I started my journey into the world of programming and game development, um, it was 8, 9 years ago, and at that time I only played games. I didn't know anything. Thanks. Suggestions from my computer. Um, I didn't know anything about coding. I was horrible at math, and I still am. I'm a complete noob at mathematics. Um, and I only knew that I loved gaming in general, and I still do. And I knew inside me uh, there was this little flame that wanted to make games and work on them. Yeah, so I started learning programming by myself. I tried a couple of courses in university, which I didn't finish as well, but they gave me a basic introduction into languages like C and Python, and I eventually ended up exploring more of the coding world by myself and with the help of the internet, and nowadays with a lot of help from ChatGPT, for example. And um, these last couple years, like these last 9 years, were altogether um, a, a huge compilation of steps uh, of me learning and growing. Um, and I decided to start this series on like the a simple console game in C because I remember when I started out, I could find almost everywhere online and on YouTube and in websites um, explanations for everything, for all my questions. So if I wanted to know how do I do a while loop, how do I do a function, how do I use printf, how do I read from a file, how do I write to a file, what are the different types of operations I can do with writing to a file, appending, reading, whatever. Um, I could find all the answers online and I could find all the answers on YouTube. There's always someone explaining all these things um, anywhere. Um, but my problem eventually, and very quickly, in fact, became that my questions started to change. So I always, and still today, have questions of, okay, I forgot how to do something and I have to look it up or ask, okay, ChatGPT. my best friend, basically. Tell me, how do I do this? Oh, you do this. Oh, okay, thanks. That's how I printed a line. Thank you very much. I forgot. Um, and these questions always remain. That's fine. But very quickly in my learning life in programming, uh, I started to have different questions, more like questions like, how do I structure my program? How do I make my game then? How do I organize my files? How do I, where do I put all my stuff? How do I order my files? Like, is there naming conventions for all my things? And these things, like, okay, naming conventions, maybe there's a lot of places in the internet where we can find this. But there's a lot of other things, other questions like file structuring and um, project structuring that it's not that easy to come across. Um, and when you, for example, for me, I totally remember that when I came across an example of this, it was on some website, and I saw the examples, the text examples, and I have ADHD and quite a severe ADHD. Um, yeah. So totally remember that when I came across this website, this written example of how do I to structure your program, and it was an example that didn't have anything to do with the game, and it was something totally different, and with a file system and orders that were completely different. It just didn't make any sense to me, and um, all my questions remained, and I had to keep trying and figuring out stuff for myself, um, until I eventually came to the conclusion that, okay, I feel comfortable enough that my programs work for the most part. They do work. Um, it's not that they are perfect, because I'm not gonna say like that I'm um, a professional programmer. I'm not. I'm like semi above the beginner level, and that's basically it. Uh, and I had to basically figure out all of these questions for myself. And so the idea of what I want to do with this series is focusing on what answers these questions of how do we handle our data, and uh, how do we give answers to all of our questions. And the fun fact is that all of our questions of how do we structure our game and create our game in C and in our program and in code, the answers are in game design. So when we design our game, and when we think, okay, we want to make our game and we want to make it like this is our game idea, this is our game concept, and we're going to make it, and we have the general idea of what we want to do, then that is the first and final step for us to think um, for us to think ahead. And when we're thinking ahead while coding, then we are solving potential issues that we're going to have moving forward. And so we are avoiding pitfalls when we're coding, and we're avoiding spaghetti code like in the future. So it's cool. It took me a whole lot of time to realize that game design is the answer to coding questions that I had for the longest time, but apparently it is. And that's what I want to focus on this series. So we'll be coding, but with the game design uh, background in mind, the plan in mind. And so the next episode, episode one, will go over just the basic installation of the programs we will need, which is MSys for the compiler, Visual Studio Code for editing the code, and what else? Yeah, I'll use ChatGPT for easily just it basically replaces the browser. It just makes it easier for me, for everybody, I guess, to ask questions and get the answers fast. And basically that's it. So in the next episode, episode one, we'll install those things and we'll start. And I will also write down. I have it written down in the notebook, but I will write it down for you guys to see in a text file, so we can all see the basic idea I planned for this simple console game, which I think it's kind of cool. I think you guys will gonna like it. And yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm 27 years old. My name is Francisco, and there you go. I'm also currently working in construction, um, which is also interesting because I never done anything like that before. But it's being fun. I'm breaking stuff and painting things, and yeah, it's interesting, and it gives me a lot of time while I'm doing work to think about coding and games. And today, while I was at work, I was thinking about this tutorial and how I would talk to a camera, which is weird. And I won't have the camera on in the other videos. It's just for this introduction. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the series, and let's see how it goes. So, okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.